Oscars 95th annual Academy Awards there just happened this past Sunday. Me and Nathan were in a Oscar pool. At least I didn't come in last. I didn't come in last, so that was great. I beat Danny Doggett. He came in. He ended up coming in last. So L to that guy.
Hey, yeah, but Joshua, you know what they say? You're not first. You're last.
True.
I actually ultimately came in last. I can't let Doggett go all the way under. Doggett stayed last for a while. I bet way too much on Maverick and Austin Butler. That was where I played myself. But I mean, early on, you could sort of see that the tide was going everything everywhere all at once. I thought it would go mostly that way, but I thought like the Oscars normally are, the wealth would be a little spread. This was just a pure wave.
Yeah. So, and
we watched it last night for the most part on stream when until we got temporarily suspended for showing the actual ceremony. But I was very shocked how much of a sweep it was for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that was my absolute favorite movie of last year. I had it at #1. It's probably one of my favorites of it's very early on saying it's going to be one of my favorites of this decade of the 2020s. But I was shocked because that movie is so fucking weird that there was no way in hell I thought the Academy would give it that kind of love.
Yeah. So let's go through it. So we're going to do the big awards. Best supporting, best actor, best director, best picture, everything like that. We're going to do just the big awards. We're going to talk about that. Then talk about the ceremony in general, kind of what we thought of that. Jimmy Kimmel was the host, discuss a little bit about him. So go through all that. So let's kind of go to best animated feature film. That ended up being Pinocchio. Guillermo del Toro. Very happy about that. Pinocchio I thought was an amazing movie. Best Pinocchio movie of the year. Not that hard to do in 2022. But
your competition is Zemeckis' Pinocchio and Pauly Shore's Pinocchio.
Yeah, so it's not that hard to do. In the category of best animated feature, you had Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Also love that movie. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was on my list.
Delightful.
It was cute.
That movie is just like a warm hug in the same way that Paddington is for me.
Yeah. Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Really loved Puss in Boots. I think maybe Puss in Boots came out too late in the year. Maybe that was a problem with that one. Because it came out in November, right? I think it came out in November.
That came out December. That was December. That was very late December. That got in right in time for the Christmas season.
Yeah, so maybe that was the case. The Sea Beast, I haven't seen the Sea Beast, so I don't know. And then
I didn't either.
Turning
Red, of course, Turning Red,
which I did really like. Turning Red. I like a lot of movies in this category. I haven't seen the Sea Beast, but all these other movies I do really like. So I'm, if Turning Red or Marcel the Shell with Shoes On or Puss in Boots had won, I wouldn't have been mad about that. I've been like, okay, that's cool. So you guys think that's pretty good? Animated?
Yeah. I mean, it's all across the board. Like you said, there were really great nominations. The only one that I don't love as much, I mean, there are two that I don't love as much as most people. I'm a picky bitch when it comes to animation. Were Puss in Boots and Marcel the Shell. But both of those I liked fine enough to where I would be perfectly understanding and like down with their win. Pinocchio and Turning Red were my two front runners. I ended up going for Pinocchio because, I mean, it's an astounding piece of animation.
It's out of all of the animated movies that came out last year. We don't see stop motion a lot these days anymore, and the fact that Del Toro was willing to put his name on that and have this much darker take on the story of Pinocchio and giving Del Toro's usual spins on it, setting it in fascist Italy. It added something new to a story that we have been seeing hundreds of times, even 3 times that same year.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the third Oscar for Guillermo del Toro, the third one for him. Chill said, I voted for the pussy. That's what he said. He voted for,
so does Nathan every weekend. Hey,
So, and we're going to get into the other big categories here. So, Best Actor. So Brendan Fraser ended up for The Whale. I think that was pretty much generally considered the big front runner here, Brendan Fraser. I didn't really like The Whale too much as a movie, but, you know, whatever. You also had Austin Butler for Elvis. He was my second person who I thought was going to win it. He was my second pick there. Again, another movie which I thought was kind of mad, but, you know, he was the best thing in it.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about Elvis either, but even I can acknowledge that that was a damn good performance that Austin Butler put in.
Yeah. The Whale just didn't deserve any Oscars, but I'm fine with the comeback narrative for Fraser. I thought he was good in The Whale. He was
I guess I'm in the minority that loved The Whale. It was a story that I had no previous frame of reference for it, and it's a movie that purely on its performances from the cast, especially Brendan Fraser and Hong Chow, and of course Samantha Morton later in the film. It's a movie that I watched it with my sister, and I started crying at like 20 minutes in, and then just didn't stop.
Yeah. So you also had that Colin Farrell for The Banshee of Inisherin. I really like that movie. I like Colin Farrell in it. If he had won, I wouldn't have been mad about that. I think he's really great in that movie. Paul,
it would have been nice to see him get the first Oscar.
That monologue where he's just dressing down Brendan Gleeson and saying, "What is so wrong with being a good person?" It's heartbreaking to see, and that is an Oscar moment if I've ever seen one.
Paul Mescal for After Sun. I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really give my opinion on his performance. Nathan, have you seen this?
No, it was one of the ones I was trying to get to beforehand. I've heard nothing but great things about his performance in here. Honestly, most of the best actors were shared on my own personal list that I make for best actor. So, you know, I was mostly satisfied. I went for Austin Butler more than anything because that dude's a fucking star. I mean, I think it's sneaky, complicated work that he does doing what, you know, is one of the most common impressions in the world, and still being able to convey a character and be able to be like, wow, who is this Austin Butler guy? When you should be like, oh yeah, well that guy captured Elvis, you know?
Yeah, the way I feel about Austin Butler and Elvis, even though again I'm not crazy about the movie, it's the way that other people feel about Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody. Where for me, Rami and Rhapsody felt like just not even close to Freddie Mercury. It felt like an impression of a stereotypical flamboyant gay man, which, you know, was not Freddie Mercury. From what I've seen of Elvis in clips and in history books, Austin Butler nailed it and did that and danced that line between impression and giving an actual character when, you know, he was allowed to.
Yeah.
I think y'all just need to buy better shit, because Elvis is like the drug movie of the year. Like, you get stoned and you watch Elvis it's Speed Racer.
If you need drugs to enjoy a movie, the movie has failed.
Tell that to Speed Racer, one of the best movies ever made.
And then you had Bill Nighy in Living. Didn't see the movie, so I can't really give my opinion there. And then so I think I can't really give my too much opinion because I haven't seen After Sun or Living. And, you know, Brendan Fraser, but like Nathan said, good comeback for him. Him winning, everybody was kind of rooting for him there. It was kind of one of those things where, you know, when he gave his speech, they could tell the whole room was rooting for him. Everybody online was rooting for him. So that was pretty cool. So there you go with that. What did you guys think about the ceremony? And did you think it flowed pretty nice? Did you think there was some good musical stuff? Jimmy Kimmel's the host. What were kind of some of your opinions there?
I mean, we got to see Naatu perform live on the Oscars. That alone makes it worth it for me.
Yeah.
I thought it was all in all a pretty standard ceremony. Nothing too crazy happened. I think they're just structurally in the middle of the show, it really hit a dead wall with all the wins for All Quiet in the Western Front as like 4 in a row. We had like that dour, like inside of a fax machine sound of the soundtrack as a German person takes the stage and says, you know, we worked really hard on this picture. A film that I wasn't too crazy about, but in the like halfway through, you're like, wow, we're having this, we're having that bizarre Little Mermaid thing. I haven't seen Jimmy Kimmel in a little bit. Now we're having a bizarre Warner Brothers commercial. How many awards are left of the show? And then it sort of seemed to rush to the finish with a lot of, like you said, with Brendan Fraser, like the comeback narrative, and with Pinocchio, we kind of saw it coming. A lot of very safe wins as far as pleasing the internet.
Okay. Yeah.
I think everything was more like here's the new Oscars. This is everything that you sort of want to win. Don't think about last year, which was a crapshoot. And I felt like all in all the winners were great. The show itself, the televised, it was whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much the thing with the Oscars. Unless something insane happens, like I don't know, Will Smith slapping the shit out of Chris Rock, then the ceremony is more or less eh.
Yeah. And then Jimmy Kimmel's the host. What did you think? Just standard, okay, pretty basic.
He got more laughs out of me. He got more laughs out of me than I would have thought.
Yeah, he had some good ones. The insurrection one I thought was pretty good. That was a pretty good one. There was another one he did that was pretty good that I thought. I can't remember it right now. He did how many slap jokes? Was it 3, 2?
I think I counted 4.
4 slap.
He was very smart to never name Will Smith though. In the middle of those. Like not in like hey, we shouldn't name Will Smith, but it kept them from feeling super obvious and were classier.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I thought he was a good host.
Yeah, classy enough not for him to get slapped by Will Smith when he's gonna come on his show. I think it was
yeah. The red table.
So I was kind of, I think I was, maybe we should have did a bet over under how many slap jokes would it be. I think you guessed 2. I guess probably 3. I was like probably 3. So yeah. How many references they'd make there. I know there was a real awkward moment that people were talking about him and Jimmy Kimmel when he went up and talked to Malala, that woman, and he asked her about
the Nobel Prize winner. I asked him about her about the slap, and it was like this really awkward joke where I don't think she was really in on it.
Yeah, I don't think she knew what to say, but you know what I mean. And then so that was kind of a dead moment because I think it was kind of awkward, but there was that. So yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a standard, basic kind of show. Yeah, that's about it. Good musical performances, like I said, Natu RR, that was great. You know, they should have had Nathan in there.
That had so much. The energy of that fucking performance, it kind of carried me through the rest of the show because, you know, especially because I think that came off the heels of all the back-to-back All Quiet on the Western Front wins. And that was like a breath of fresh air when they did Natu.
Yeah.
I thought the Gaga performance, I mean, I feel like Gaga should just be at every Oscars personally, just no matter what. I felt like that was another one of the performances that, like, normally this is the moment when I check the laundry.
I wanted weirder.
Like, split
I wanted it to be weirder. I wanted her to fly in on a jet. She didn't even dress up. She was dressed like she was going to a punk show after this, which
it
Lady
felt
Gaga
slapped together. But I dug on how it was just how it immediately, as opposed to like, all right, and now to the stage is Lady Gaga. It was like, so I wrote this song. It's very important to me. And you know, like you started to get like these crazy close-ups of her on one side of the screen. Yeah,
I was half expecting the camera to pan over and Bradley Cooper's next to her.
Yeah.
Hold my hand.
Hold my hand.
Let's see. So you got Best Supporting Actress. So here we go. So we got Jamie Lee Curtis who ended up winning. We got Angela Bassett. We got Hung Chow for The Whale. Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We got Carrie Condon for The Banshee of Inisherin. And we got Stephanie Hughes for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So this was the biggest surprise of the night. I think most of everything else, I think people were probably like, okay, you could probably see that winning. This was probably the one that most people had the biggest problem with. Jamie Lee Curtis winning for Everything Everywhere All at Once. It also was a big surprise to me. I thought if you are going to do it, it's going to be probably Stephanie or Angela Bassett. Either one of those two. So what did you all think about that? Was it probably the biggest surprise of the night?
It's only the biggest. I wouldn't say the biggest surprise. It is the biggest what the hell, I guess, which I kind of get why the Academy would pick Jamie Lee over the other nominees. She is a more legacy Oscar winner, but I still think that Stephanie Hsu is such the heart of Everything Everywhere All at Once that it's kind of criminal that she didn't get the win for that, because I think her character was much more vital to the themes and story of that film than Jamie Lee's, even though I think both actresses are fantastic. I wouldn't have been mad, and I still am. I'm still not over any of these women winning. Carrie Condon, she's phenomenal in Banshees of Inisherin. Angela Bassett, incredible in Wakanda Forever. And who was the other one?
Hung Chow, the whale.
Oh, Hung Chow. Yeah, she basically started the waterworks when I watched The Whale.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that the nominations on the whole, like even before the show, were kind of a crapshoot. None of the actresses in this list, respectively to all of them, who I think all put in great work, were not in my personal list. I kind of felt like Keke Palmer got shut out for Nope, and Lashana Lynch got shut out for Woman King, and those were my main two. I felt about the same about Jamie Lee Curtis winning as I would have felt about Angela Bassett winning, where I'm like, I love you as a performer. I love you in this role. It's strange to me that you are winning your first Best Supporting Actress Oscar for this performance in this movie. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett, having watched both of them actually again for the first time, both of them like 2 days ago, I thought they were both better than I remembered them in those movies, and they hit their marks, but they really weren't what I would have gone for. I had Carrie Condon a little bit higher on my list than them, but honestly, just across the board, it's one of those where if Michelle Williams was ran for Fabelmans and Best Supporting Actress, you would have probably saw a sweep here, but Jamie Lee winning it was a good moment because of her speech, but all in all, it could have gone to anybody here, and I would have felt about the same.
Yeah. I saw all these movies. I saw all these performances. The weakest one, if I had to point out one, Hung Chow, The Whale. Maybe it's because I just don't like that movie all that much. But
agreed.
Yeah,
that's one where it should have been like Hung Chow, The Menu. Personally,
maybe
her tortilla is worth that award more than anything she does in The Whale. But I also just don't like The Whale, and I think that almost everybody in the cast has some level of stink to them coming with that performance, but I am glad for the Frasier win because of the comeback narrative.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw all these movies. So yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see Angela Bassett win. She would have been great. Again, Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, if you are going to pick a Best Supporting, don't know why you wouldn't really go with Stephanie there. But
yeah, and that is the heaviest favorite. That was the one I had the most favored because Hsu has to have so much range as both Joy and as Jobu Tupaki. She has to play multiple different versions of herself and give character arcs to each separate version.
Yeah.
I'm also fucks dudes up with 2 dildos.
I'm in the minority on that performance, where I find it to be not weaker than Curtis, but she's just so outclassed by Ke Huy Quan and Michelle Yeoh, which, I mean, who can blame her? That it just sort of like it seemed to me so far of a step down from those performances that it really didn't stand out as much as Quan or Yeoh for me.
Okay. Best actress.
She's still good.
Yeah. So Best Actress, you got Michelle Yeoh, Everything Ever All at Once, who won. You got You have Kate Blanchett, Tar, who I was I thinking it was probably between Michelle Yeoh, Kate Blanchett. I went with Kate Blanchett, but you know what I mean. That's who I voted for. But yeah, and then Andrea Rosenborough for Leslie. You have Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and you also have Ana de Armas for Blonde.
That was the nomination where, all right, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I guess you had to fill up the slot. You had to put something in there. They were like, "Fuck it."
You had to fill up the slot. Yeah, you had to fill up the slot, and the Academy don't like the black people, so
or just Viola Davis for The Woman King, get Mia Goth for Pearl, get Rebecca Hall for Resurrection.
Yeah, because the Academy hates genre stuff.
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. No,
they hate horror. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That's more accurate.
So I've never seen Leslie. I've never seen that one, so I can't comment on that one. But I've seen all the other things.
Nobody really has. That's the whole controversy with it. Is that a bunch of actors started posting about Leslie out of nowhere, and there's a lot of accusations about whether or not this was a bought nomination. I feel bad for Angela Riseborough, who's a great actress, and should be up here for an Oscar, but there's a lot of allegations.
Really, motherfucker? This is the one you're getting up in arms about bot nominations? That's been like the dirty secret of the Oscars for decades.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the more overt cases of it. So it's now leading to more investigation.
I think the King's Speech Best Picture win is more of an egregious case than that.
That's the only one I haven't seen. I've seen everything else. I mean, Blonde, I hated that movie. I didn't even like Ana de Armas' performance in it. Like I said, me and Ana de Armas last year.
Ana de Armas is only given one gear in Pearl, and that is
Blonde?
In Blonde. Be sexually assaulted and call every man daddy. That is the only gear that she is given.
Yeah, so besides for that, I could see... I mean, Kate Blanchett does fantastic in Tar. Love that movie. Think it's a great movie. Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, lesser so. I think Michelle Williams is good. I think it's a little like...
I would probably put Kate Blanchett... I mean, Kate Blanchett is the best performance of the year, in my opinion, and Michelle Yeoh deserves the Oscar win more. So that's kind of where I'm at. But Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans does great work. She's now kind of been labeled with like, did you go too over the top? Is this just her trying to show off? But by all accounts, Spielberg's mom was quite the character herself. I mean, if you feel like she's acting strange, I mean, the actual woman got a monkey because she needed a laugh. So, and then to imagine like being such an eccentric artist like that, and your son is Steven Spielberg, the greatest like possible living. I mean, she's a character.
Yeah. So, so there you go. So, Michelle Yeoh won. I think. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty great. I mean, I think, again, everything ever all at once. I mean, Nathan, you're more of a film, probably history guy, probably have more knowledge about that. I don't know if there's ever been a case where one film has had all Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, all in the film. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I mean, there's Silence of the Lambs is on that list where it won Best Picture. I can't remember if it won Best Director, but it certainly won Best...
Yeah, but
Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor.
But there's only been 3 films that have won all acting categories at the Oscars. Excuse me. It's been Streetcar Named Desire, Network, and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
And those are the only 3 to have ever won all 4 acting categories.
Okay.
Well, Everything Everywhere All at Once didn't win
Best Actor.
Best Actor because it wasn't up there for it.
Oh,
that's the one thing.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember because I can't remember if Network won all of them because I believe Best Supporting Actor went to. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm a little bit of a historian, but I'm also a little stoned, so that. Those two counteract each other a little bit.
Yeah. Before we get into best supporting actor, best speech, who do you think had the best speech?
Well, I have to be a little bit biased because because of the story. I would say Ke Kwan. He moved me so much with his speech and how, because as an Asian actor, we're not given a lot of the same. Asian actors aren't given the same opportunities as a lot of people. I mean, Ke Kwan basically retired for 20 years because he just wasn't getting work. He had to go behind the camera, and then Crazy Rich Asian comes out, and this motherfucker is back.
Yeah.
I thought that one of the, outside of Ke Kwan, who's been giving great speeches like for the past month right now on the awards circuit as he wins every precursor. I really liked the acceptance speech by the people for the Irish Goodbye, where they sang "Happy Birthday" halfway through. It's one of those where you're just like, "Aw, cute," but mostly pretty great speeches. I actually like Jamie Lee Curtis's a lot. That almost like made up for the fact that I was like, on the win,
Yeah. I'd say Brendan Fraser, I thought, had a really good one. His was really good. Ke Kwan, of course, had a really great one. I can see the Happy Birthday one being really good. I like the guys who won for the original song, RRR. They were cool. I like them coming up there. They were pretty awesome. Not to, they won for best original song. So that's pretty RRR. That's pretty good. All right, best supporting actor. So Ke Kwan, he won for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Brendan Gleeson for the Banshees of Inisherin. Great performance from Brendan Gleeson. Saw that. Very good. I haven't seen this movie. Brian Tyree Henry and Causeway. Haven't seen it. I was, for some reason, I don't know, I thought this would have been a weird one. I voted for Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans. That's who I thought he would win. For some reason, I thought he might have came up and...
He's great in the movie.
He's phenomenal in that segment.
Yeah. But it's best supporting actor. He rules that segment that he's in. I mean, Fabelman sort of canceled itself out with best supporting actor stuff. People think that Paul Dano was snubbed. I would agree with them. There's a ton of great performances.
Yeah. Paul Dano, I think, was definitely subbed for a best supporting nomination, and I think Gabe LaBelle was snubbed for a best actor nomination because he's phenomenal in that.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So I guess my thinking with Judd Hirsch was, well, maybe it's like a Little Miss Sunshine thing where it's like they're maybe going to give it to Alan Arkin like they did with him, and then maybe it's going to be something like that. So that was kind of my thinking. Barry Keoghan also for the Banshee of Inisherin. Good performance, Barry Keoghan. He's pretty good in that as well. As Nathan,
it's like the only one that Ke Kwan. Oh, I'm sorry. It must have cut out during it. Barry Keoghan was the only person who has won any of the precursors who wasn't Ke Kwan. So
when I was doing my little bracket, it was between either Barry Keoghan or Ke Kwan.
Yeah,
but because of that heartbreaking scene where he's getting rejected by Kerry Condon.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there goes that dream.
Brought back some memories, for you, huh?
Yes, it did actually.
Yeah. He had that for best supporting actor there. Then we're gonna do best picture.
We could quickly just talk about how Justin Long was snubbed for Barbarian.
Right. But again, Academy hates horror, so there we go.
I don't know if I would have done him best supporting for Barbarian.
That changes the whole movie when he shows up.
It's a character that supporting
performances.
The story changes the whole, not the character. The story does that.
His energy changes, though. That whole temperature changes the fuck up.
Yeah, the man is just rolling in a convertible, singing along to Ricky Tikki Taffy.
That is best moments of the year.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it hit too close at home to producers. Maybe they just hit too close at home.
Oh, yep. There you go.
Justin Roiland was like, "What the fuck?"
And then you had, so let's see, best director. You had the Daniels. They won for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then you had Martin McDonagh, who did the Banshee of Inisherin. You had Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, who I was kind of putting money on Steven Spielberg. I thought they'd suck his dick.
Yeah,
but I guess not.
He did win. Yeah, he did win the Globe, which I think is kind of a good indicator for who wins the Oscar.
Yeah,
Spielberg usually has to do a lot to win Best Director, though. Like the other ones that he did were Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. So for Fabelmans, which I think is maybe better than both of those movies in my opinion.
For me, it's my favorite Spielberg movie, at least in the last 20 years.
Oh, 100%. But it didn't make the big splash that I think a lot of people wanted it to. So I think this
it also did come out in a very crowded holiday season.
Yeah. So maybe. So and then you also had Todd Field, who did Tar. Tar is very great. I can see that. I thought
I think he could have won for that.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a case where they split it up. Sometimes they'll do Best Picture and then they'll split up the Best Director. They won't give it to the person who made the film. So I thought maybe that was going to be the case with it. And then Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. I have not seen Triangle of Sadness. I know, Nathan, you have, so I have not seen that.
It's a 2.5 hour movie about vomit. I would have been confused had it won for any award. I mostly liked it, and I like Ruben Östlund, but he's kind of been Film Twitter's least favorite person for a little bit because they asked him like some questions like, what do you want your next film to be set during? And he's like, I want it set in an iPad. And people are like, for fuck's sake, like this guy.
So I can't give my opinion on that.
If any movie about how shitty rich people was going to get an Oscar nomination, I thought it should have been The Menu.
Menu.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson could have snuck in there with Glass Onion, but yeah. It's the worst Eat the Rich movie of the year, which is not to say that much. I mean, it's still pretty good.
I mean, it's competing against The Menu and Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I argue that's they drop a couple down, and it's like Triangle of Sadness.
So I wouldn't have been mad if Todd Field won for Tar. I do think Tar is very good. Mark McDonagh for The Banshee of Inisherin.
Tar is amazing.
I wouldn't be mad at that. He's pretty good. That's a pretty good movie. Steven Spielberg, even though I voted for him, I just voted for him because I was trying to balance what I wanted versus what I'm thinking the Academy's going to do. Yeah,
it's an incredibly directed movie. I mean, it's a Spielberg movie.
You know, it's fine. It's okay. The Fabelmans is fine. I thought if he was going to win, maybe West Side Story last year would have been a better movie to win for. I thought that was better. I
like them both about the same amount. I mean, the thing with the Fabelmans is it's sneakily probably his most transgressive and weird movie in a lot of ways because it is him very much talking about his childhood, but also being like, maybe I had a sexual obsession with my bully. Maybe I kind of wanted to fuck my mom. Also, like, there's that scene when the divorce was happening where...
and then that scene where it's like he's filming it.
Yeah, where he looks in the mirror and he sees himself like looking for the best angles of his parents' divorce. I think there's some like truly weird stuff that he pulled. Like he's dealing from below the deck as far as directing that movie. So it's a good nomination. I mean, James Cameron got snubbed for Avatar. There's like a ton of different directing nominations that they could have gone, but Daniels seemed to be the ones who won for that stunning debut.
Yeah. Very great. Chill said that Nathan, you're his Triangle of Sadness. He said that, so I guess that's an honor there. I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
Yeah, love you.
Yeah, so for me, out of all the nominations, I wouldn't have been mad at any if any of them won. But for my money, what the Daniels did with Everything Everywhere All at Once, in terms of not just their staging with their action, the constant changing of different aspect ratios, exploring these different universe, playing around with the edit. That to me, it's the most ambitious directed film of the year. And for that, it's so weird in terms of its execution. With a lesser script, it would be an incomprehensible mess. But the script is done with such a tenderness and sincerity that it still holds itself together throughout it.
Yeah, And so Best Picture. Best Picture, of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once won. That was the big winner all night. It is the most awarded film ever, right? That's correct in film history there. So then you also have All Quiet on the Western Front. You also have Avatar, The Way of Water. You got The Banshee of Inisherin. We have Elvis. We have The Fabelmans. We have Tar. We have Top Gun Maverick. We have The Triangle of Sadness. We have Women Talking. So I did not see All Quiet on the Western Front. I did not see Triangle of Sadness or Women Talking. But I feel like Avatar, The Way of Water, and Elvis and Top Gun were kind of just movies thrown in there because we got to fill up the slots. So we got to have 10 slots, and we got to put something in there. That's the way I feel about it. So. Yeah, we gotta have 10 slots there. That's the way I kind of feel about that. Even though
we gotta have 10 slots, and the Academy doesn't nominate horror, so that automatically rules out Pearl.
Yeah, so we gotta throw some in. So even though, as I say, I like Top Gun, I like Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah. Again, Elvis.
I think those movies I think are fine. I'm on Elvis, and I haven't seen Women Talking or Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah,
I would argue that Woman Talking and Triangle of Sadness and to some extent Avatar 2 were more of them stretching out that 10, just because Elvis you could actually argue more than Avatar stretching out that 10, but both Top Gun, Elvis, and Avatar were movies that brought people back to theaters in a huge way this year. And a big complaint of last year that they tried to suplex was, oh, hey, we haven't seen enough of these nominees. So you have your Tars, you have your Women Talking and everything, and that's more of your traditional Oscar nominees. Whereas Avatar is like, here, you've seen this movie, we're going to draw in more viewers. Same with Top Gun Maverick. Same with Elvis, which really managed to capture the older audiences back in theaters in July, August. I mean, it's you could say, yeah, just filling out the thing. They're just they're more trying to bring eyes to the TV show element of it, even though I would argue that most of those were near my top 10, if not in my top 10. Maverick is actually every film in my top 10, and then everything else comes after it. But
yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't be mad if so other movies I've seen here, Tar, I wouldn't be mad if Tar winning Best Picture. I wouldn't be mad at that. Banshee of Inisherin, wouldn't be mad at that. Fabelmans, yeah, I don't think Fabelmans. Even though it's okay. I wouldn't.
I love the movie, but even I think Best Picture is kind of a stretch, especially when looking at the competition in that category.
Yeah, Chill said he's seen enough women talking in real life. He doesn't need to see the movie. Really, Chill on Women's Month? Really?
On Women's Month, dude?
Come on, man. I'm sorry, Nathan. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say as far as I think Fabelmans was one of the top 3 movies of the year. Same with Tar, same with Top Gun. That's my top 3. So all of those had representation in there. I would have been more upset if Triangle of Sadness or All Quiet on the Western. If All Quiet on the Western Front won Best Picture, I think everybody would just be a little bit sighing.
Yeah.
Feel like a couple years ago when Coda won, except Coda's actually good.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are going to discuss worst Best Picture winners. We are going to talk about that. What we think the worst Best Picture winners are, because there's kind of some talks here with Everything Everywhere All at Once and everything like that. But I mean,
let me guess. It's mostly from. I'm just gonna guess. Caucasian man babies who get triggered at the thought of an idea of a woman doing kung fu.
Well, maybe. You gotta stick around. Maybe talk about that. But Elvis, I'd have been kind of upset if that won Best Picture. Same thing with Avatar 2. And Top Gun, I would have been like, yeah, Top Gun. I don't see that. But yeah,
best movie ever made.
So I mean, it was overall. I mean, do you guys think that the Oscars? I mean, this is probably the best year they got pretty much everything right. Like this was kind of a fairly year they got mostly it all right.
It's this one like the Parasite
it's hard
year.
Yeah, I would very much 100% agree with that. And notice both movies mostly Asian cast, so Asian films are winners.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, the most sticking point that people have with this year's Oscar is pretty much the best supporting actress. That was pretty much a big one. That seems like the most issue that people have with this year's Oscar. Everything else, I think people pretty much was like, hey, everything everywhere all at once. They were pretty good on that. A lot of people liked it. I mean, of course, as much as something's going to get a lot of praise, it's going to get a lot of hate too, and people going like, well, it's not that good, like what the fuck?
Of course.
So you got to have, it's going to be the equal reaction too of it. So you're going to have that. Yeah. So, I mean, worst best picture winners, and the reason I'm talking about this because there was a couple tweets I saw there, people talking about the movie, it being the worst best picture winner ever and everything like that, and generally what is considered the worst best picture winner is Crash. That's typically what a lot of people go to. Crash. I'd also throw Coda in there. I'd throw Forrest Gump in there. I would throw
Green Book. Anybody?
Green Book in there.
I would throw huge.
I would throw King's Speech in there.
King's Speech is
fucking hated that movie.
So let me pull up. So I'm gonna pull up because to talk about these movies. Now we're not talking about these movies are like terrible movies. We're just saying like best picture, right?
Really bad. Yeah, it's especially the years those came out. Really, Best Picture, especially because I think King's Speech was nominated the same year as Black Swan, which the fuck.
Yeah,
and The Social Network.
Yeah, so
right. And which ones are we still talking about to this day?
Yeah. So
another one that I would put up there is Gandhi. As far as like, okay, tell me, how many of y'all have seen Gandhi?
I have not seen Gandhi.
I have not. No.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, there you go.
Also, look up the year 1982, one of the best years in film history. Period. You got Blade Runner. Fucking.
I don't like Blade
Star
Runner.
Trek 2: Wrath of Khan. Okay, but we can go through Rocky 3. It's a huge like blockbuster. First Blood. Tron. God.
So
Conan the Barbarian.
So the year that Gandhi was nominated for Best Picture, in the category you had E.T., you had Missing, you had Tootsie, and you had The Verdict. So
The Verdict's incredible.
So I haven't seen Gandhi, so I can't really say. E.T. obviously, out of all these movies, what's the movie that people mostly talk about is E.T. Everybody still talks about E.T. With Nick's pick, he had The King's Speech. So The King's Speech was nominated for Best Picture, and it was up for the 83rd Academy. In the 83rd Academy. So King's Speech, what it got nominated with was Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception. I forgot Inception was nominated for Best Picture. The Kids Are All Right, 127 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. These are a lot of good picks.
See,
there's a lot of good.
Any of those other movies, I would have been more than okay with winning Best Picture. Any of them, except The King's Speech.
Yeah. I think, I would have probably gone with Black Swan. I like Black Swan a lot. The Fighter is pretty good. I think, I've seen The Kids Are All Right. That's a pretty solid one. That's with Mark Ruffalo. 127 Hours is good. I think I would have picked probably The Social Network. Out of these choices, I would have probably picked The Social Network.
The Social Network is an all-time of the decade movie.
Yeah. Or True Grit. True Grit is also really great too. True Grit.
True Grit does fucking rule.
Driving Miss Daisy is one of the worst ones, though. Driving Miss Daisy winning is a huge.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Driving. Let's see. What was nominated for Best Picture of the Year? Driving Miss Daisy was there. Let me see. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah. So Coda. I'm gonna also pull up the one for Coda 2 as well. What that was nominated. So
there's one thing the Academy loves more than hating on. It's rewarding white savior movies.
So Driving Miss Daisy was the 62nd Academy Award. So up with Driving Miss Daisy was Born on the 4th of July, Dead Poets Society, Field of Dreams.
What the fuck?
My Left Foot. So
also that was the same year that that Do the Right Thing came out, which was like the big like holy shit that it didn't win that. That it wasn't even nominated.
So the Academy is really out to get Spike Lee. They gave Cher an Oscar. Cher.
And so out of these movies, and then this was split because Best Director went to Oliver Stone for Born on the 4th of July. I've seen Born on the 4th of July. Tom Cruise. Speaking of Top Gun Maverick, good movie. I mean, it's a solid movie.
It's one of the movies that like really kept him from doing a Top Gun sequel because he was staunchly anti-war.
And then let's see, Field of Dreams. That's a classic. Out of all these movies, most people probably talk about Field of Dreams more than anything. It's probably Field of Dreams. That's the movie with Kevin Costner, baseball movie. My Left Foot. I've seen that. That's the movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. Amazing performance from Daniel Day-Lewis. You know what I mean? As a real life person. I mean, I think he gave himself cerebral palsy to play that character, I believe.
Of course, he's a man committed to his craft. Of course, and besides, it's Daniel Day-Lewis. The floor for him is pretty good.
Yeah. So what was? Let's see. Also, I bring up Crash. What was nominated with Crash?
Crash
was what 2005.
That was the Departed year, I believe.
What the fuck?
If it's not 2005, it's 2006. I think it's 2006.
2006. Well, Crash came out 2004, so that would have been 2005 Oscars.
2005 Oscars, okay.
Nope, you're right. 2006 Oscars, 78.
So this is 78th Academy Award. So with Crash, you have Brokeback Mountain, which great movie, Brokeback Mountain. You have Capote, that was the movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then you have Good Night, Good Luck, and then you have Munich. Speaking of Steven Spielberg, in there.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So out of these choices, you'd probably want to go with probably either Brokeback Mountain or Munich, at least I think.
I would argue Birdman is a pretty bad Best Picture winner in 2014. I have the nominees up here right now.
What are the nominees?
Well, I mean, the nominees are Whiplash, Selma, The Theory of Everything, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Boyhood, American Sniper, and then Birdman.
I think Birdman is better than American Sniper.
Next.
And
I agree.
I do like Birdman a lot, but not more than fucking Whiplash.
Yeah, I think Whiplash should have put on. I do like it better than Theory of Everything. I like it better.
I like Boyhood a little bit more than I like Birdman.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Boyhood. I haven't seen Boyhood, so I can't really say.
Boyhood's good.
So yeah, that was with Crash that year. Let me see. So Coda was last year. Coda was the 94th. They won Best Picture. I think Coda is a really, really good Lifetime movie. It's a very, very good Lifetime movie, but we'll see here. With Coda, it won Best Picture at the 94th Academy Awards. With it was Belfast, which I haven't seen. But I hear it was really great. Don't Look Up, which I think is a movie that was there to fill up the slots. Drive My Car, which out of all these movies, I think Drive My Car is the best one. I love that movie. It's a Japanese movie. You have Dune. I don't think Dune is really Best Picture, but okay. I think that's another like fill up the slot type thing.
It might be Best Picture if we see the other half.
That's the biggest problem with Dune Part 1 is because it is so constrained to being Part 1.
You have King Richard, which I thought was okay. That was the movie about Serena and Venus Williams' father, Will Smith, with Will Smith in there. Licorice Pizza, it was okay. I thought it was all right. Nightmare Alley, I love Nightmare on Alley, Guillermo del Toro.
I loved Licorice Pizza. That's probably my favorite of all the nominees.
Really? That's your favorite. Okay. You also have The Power of the Dog, which was good. Jane Champion ended up winning. They split it, Best Director, Best Picture. So Jane Champion won for Best Director for Power of the Dog. Coda won for Best Picture. West Side Story, Steven Spielberg. So for me, out of this list, I would have probably gone with Drive My Car, West Side Story, or Nightmare Alley. Those would have been the things I would have picked.
Yeah, those are... Yeah, that's probably where I'm at, too, with the Best Picture nominee. Even though I think it's a crime that Tick, Tick, Boom didn't get a nomination.
Yeah. But, yeah. So
I mean, I'm looking at it. Green Book is such a fucking egregious one.
What was the nominees there when Green Book was up?
Well, it was...
Black Panther, Black Klansman. This is like right after the whole Oscars So White had already been like a whole thing. So they were like trying to make up for it by like half giving it to Green Book, which is almost more racist. Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a piece of shit. Favorite, Roma, A Star is Born, which is also pretty great. And then Vice, which is a piece of shit.
So he says...
you could have given it to Black Panther.
I would have...
Yeah, that category, Black Panther's probably my favorite movie in there.
Let's see.
I love Black Panther more, but they're both great.
So what were the... So say it one more time. What were the nominees? So you had Black Panther, Black Klansman, The Favorite. What else?
Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice.
I would have probably done Roma. I would have just done Roma.
I would have gone Black Klansman. That way you give Spike Lee and Jordan Peele an Oscar, but instead they gave it to the Farley brothers. Or I would have gone for Black Panther, even though it would have been really awkward when they have all the producers come out and there's only one producer and it's Kevin Feige accepting the award for Black Panther.
Yeah. A Star is Born it's good. You know, it's all right. Vice is...
It's really good.
I think Vice is not really, but probably Roma or The Favorite probably would have been there, and then maybe third.
I think either Black Klansman or The Favorite would have been my picks that year.
So that's typically because I'm looking at a list here. So Crash is number 1 when it's considered the worst Best Picture winners of all time. Number 2 is Green Book. Number 3 is Shakespeare in Love. Number 4 is Driving Miss Daisy. Number 5 is Jiggy. 6 is Dances with Wolves. 7 is Around the World in 80 Days. 8 is American Beauty. That's surprising. American Beauty, really.
That's an odd one.
Let me see what was nominated the year.
If we're talking about movies that didn't age well, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're talking about the fact that Kevin Spacey's a fucking weirdo, I guess. Let me see what was nominated the year, because American Beauty came out in 1999, and it was at the 72nd Academy Awards. Let's see. So with American Beauty was Cider House Rules, The Green Mile, The Insider, The Sixth Sense.
Shit, I probably would have gone The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Probably The Sixth Sense. Yeah. The Insider. Have I seen The Insider? That's Michael Mann movies with Al Pacino and Russell Crowe. I don't think I've seen The Insider, but Sixth Sense, obviously, if you're going to say which movie's more memorable out of all these ones, probably Sixth Sense is probably the most memorable.
Or which one has had the biggest cultural impact. And that's kind of one of the interesting things about debates like this, is because we don't know until like maybe 5, maybe 10 years later what kind of impact these movies are going to leave.
Yeah. So let me see real quick here, because I brought up Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump came out in 1994, and it was at the... Hold on, let me see this really, really, really quickly. Let me pull this one up. So it was at... let me see. Hold on. Academy. So it was like the 67th Academy Awards. So for Best Picture, you had Forrest Gump, who Robert Zemeckis won for Best Director. You had Pulp Fiction. You had Quiz Show, and you had The Shawshank Redemption. And you had Four Weddings and a Funeral. Forgot about that one. So for me, Shawshank Redemption is better than Forrest Gump. I think it's hands down a better movie than that. And also Pulp Fiction, I think, is a better movie than Forrest Gump as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Number 9 was The Greatest Show on Earth, and number 10 is Cinnamon. Cinnamon. I don't know how to say that. But there, yeah. So that was the top 10 of like best, like worst Oscar Best Picture winners. Also had like some like Out of Africa. Coda was like 11, 12. Broadway Melody. A lot of kind of way older films. There. So yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think out of the movies that it was nominated with, I think it's the best one. I think, yeah, I could see that. It's
out of this past ceremony's nominations, it was easily my favorite movie, and it was easily my favorite movie last year. I just rewatched it the other day, getting ready for the Oscars, and I still cried when I was rewatching it.
Yeah. And I'll show you the tweet that kind of inspired me to kind of talk about it, because the tweet was fucking weird. But let's see. Let me pull it. Let me kind of pull it up here real quick. But I mean, Nathan, I know this is probably tough to say, but do you think that, because when you look at some of the other movies that were kind of considered the worst Best Picture winners, you look at the other movies nominated in that category, they have a much longer cultural impact. We talked about, like, for instance, like something like with Forrest Gump, when it was nominated for Best Picture and it won. Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption have, I think Forrest Gump has a huge cultural impact, but, I
would argue that Forrest Gump isn't the right argument, but I know what you mean. Like, Saving Private Ryan versus Shakespeare in Love is the huge one that everybody talks about. I think the hard thing is, it's kind of hard to arbitrate culture in general.
Yeah.
And
that's
the
kind
Oscars
of the point.
do get things wrong to begin with. I feel like every Oscar should probably be held like 3 years after the movies, but that doesn't make sense for ratings or anything, you know?
Yeah.
People want the answer now.
Yeah. So you think?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was arguing. What I was saying, that because we talk about a lot of these nominees, which one won versus which movie has had the bigger cultural impact. Like we were talking about King's Speech versus The Social Network. Yeah. And the thing is, we don't know until like maybe 5, maybe 10 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. Sorry about that. Speaking of like cultural impact.
Oh, you can't afford
cultural impact. You know, we will always hear that really stupid debate, because it's sort of self-defeating when it's like, well, you're talking about it right now. What won Best Picture in 2009? The Hurt Locker. Do people talk about The Hurt Locker as much as Avatar? Does that necessitate that Avatar should have won? It's always going to be this sort of thing. I mean, there are years where it's just plain out egregious, like Green Book or Crash, but
or King's Speech,
or King's Speech,
Coda.
But it's just, I mean,
bro,
Coda's a tough set in general. I haven't even seen Coda, but the fact that it won Best Picture was like the like 19th most interesting thing that night.
Somebody also brought up Nomadland. Like, Nomadland was a person's choice.
I love Nomadland.
Do you think that should?
I thought it was good. It's just sort of an asterisk year, though.
Let me see what was nominated. So, Nomadland was the movie with Frances McDormand. That was at the 93rd Academy Awards. Let's see what was nominated with it. So, you got The Father with Anthony Hopkins. I actually really love The Father. That's
The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah,
Mank,
Minari,
Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7. So this was kind of Promising Young Woman. I don't think that's just kind of. I think you're just trying to fill some slots there. I think with that one, I haven't seen Mank. I haven't seen Minari. I hear Minari is really amazing though.
It is.
Sound of Metal.
Either really that good. Or Sound of Metal would have been my fucking. I would have out of that nomination.
Trial of the Chicago 7 is meh. I don't know. I think it's all right. So I would have
that got a nomination. That got a nomination purely because it's directed by Aaron Sorkin.
I would have gone with Judas and the Black Messiah or Sound of Metal. That would have been my two. I don't know, Nathan. What do you think?
2020 was such a weird year for me as far as for obvious reasons, but also like critically. Like by the end of the year, my picks were not that big. I actually every 3 years I watch the movies from that year that I haven't seen that have been on my list. So like right now I'm on 2020, so I'm sort of catching up. Like I saw Nomadland. I haven't seen The Father yet. I haven't seen Promising Young Woman yet. I mean, The Five Bloods would probably be my winner, and that's like, was that even nominated? Probably not. No?
Nope.
No. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I can't. I don't think I actually had a dog in the fight on 2020, and the ones that I did see, I didn't like that much. Like Trial of the Chicago 7 sort of jumps off a cliff at the end of it. You know.
Yeah.
Didn't see Minari. There's so many.
Yeah. So this was a tweet I saw. So you had here we go. You had Matt Walsh who said perhaps the worst Best Picture winner in the history of the Academy Awards, a tedious and pointless movie, mildly amusing at certain points, but that's the absolute best thing that can be said about it. Then you had Ben Shapiro. He said, in 5 years, nobody will watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. The movie is meh. It's over long, 2 hours and 19 minutes, confused and generally bizarre. In fact, nobody has watched a single Best Picture winner 5 years later since 2007's No Country for Old Men. Interesting kind of thing.
Just like his school shooter movie, an opinion nobody asked.
Yeah, so I mean, to say that, to address the point.
That's a problem with conservatives and media literacy. They don't know how to watch movies because they are so far up their own ass, and if it's not involving a white man, then they just dismiss it as absurd. They don't know how to think critically about media.
I mean, I hate to be the white person in the room, but I just don't. I don't want it to be. I mean, that's just sort of generally. Most of the time, I hate being the white person in the room, but it has advantages here and there. No, what I want to say is that let's just stop ourselves a little too far from conflating. All right. If you don't like Everything Everywhere All at Once, to being racist, but if you do not think this is a good win, you're a fucking prejudiced piece of shit.
Boom.
Because I found it to be like an 8 out of 10. I wasn't like fanatical about it, but I liked it.
It's like meandering, it's meaningless, pointless. The absurdity is the point of the film. It's pointing out that there is beauty in absurdity. If nothing matters, then why not be silly as shit and let that give your life meaning?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, I'm not saying that this has to be everybody's movie, has to be everybody's cup of tea, because it's not. Like some of the humor is not going to work. Some people are going to think the dildos is fucking stupid. There's a scene that you are either going to be all in on this or you're going to check out, and that is the scene with the butt plugs. Yeah, I mean, you're going to think like.
I mean, I know Martin Thomas didn't really care for it.
Yeah, so
like, it's just not. Yeah, it's nothing is going to be. No movie is all things for all people.
Yeah, so. But I mean, I don't think it winning Best Picture is, like Nathan mentioned, is as egregious as something like, Coda or The King's Speech or Green Book or Crash.
Well, the discourse behind this thing right now is it's either the best thing that has ever happened to Hollywood or the worst thing that has ever happened to Hollywood. And there's no in between. And also, nobody can really know whether or not that's the case. I personally would love at least 4 or 5 films to come out at the strength level of Everything Everywhere All at Once. That means we had a pretty...
Oh, you kind of froze there for a second there.
Good year.
Okay.
On the same level... Oh, you're all good. There are plenty of movies that came out in 2023 or 2022 that I would put on the same level or above Everything Everywhere All at Once that I really enjoyed. We just had a really good year and people want to talk shit about it, I guess.
Yeah. Nick, you got any point on that? Any thoughts?
Yeah. Ben Shapiro liked Rise of Skywalker. His opinions.
I don't like to bring up like, well, you like this, and then that, you know. But I mean,
so I've listened to a couple of his takes, and he seems like he's incapable of thinking critically about this film. He likes things to be explicitly straightforward, and he likes to have his hand held narratively. And he doesn't like to actually think about what a movie is trying to say unless he's actively looking for shit that goes against his politics.
Yeah. So this was kind of some of my thoughts on that. Just to have that, just to talk about Best Picture winners in general. You know, the worst, typically there. What do you all think is generally considered the best one? The best picture winner.
The best picture winner?
Yeah.
Shit. It's
I mean,
kind of hard to say. In recent memory, I'd probably say Parasite.
Cultural impact to Best Picture, I would say the Titanic is probably high up there. You know, just as far as like that is still a movie that's discussed, that people saw, that people liked for the most part. Regardless of your feelings on it, it was it's kind of a big like W for 1997 in movies.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Titanic is a good choice here. I'm looking at all the list of some of the best picture winners on this. This is the tomato meter, all of it ranked here. Number one, according to now the tomato meter, this is it, right? Parasite is number one. Parasite is number one. And to address a little bit of the point that nobody talks about a best picture winner since No Country for Old Men, I disagree with that, because I think that Parasite is a movie that people, I don't know, I think people still remember that movie and know it, because but I don't know.
I got one.
Yeah.
Rocky. Rocky is a movie that people still talk about.
They said after 2007.
After 2007.
Oh, after 2007.
I'm just like, I'm thinking through. I mean, Slumdog Millionaire is kind of an upset win. You had Hurt Locker, King's Speech, The Artist. I'm trying to go through Argo. I think.
Damn, he freezing. Right
Argo, not the most important movie. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah. 12 Years a Slave was a good win.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you're right. People still talk about that movie. I mean, people. I don't know if people are jumping to rewatch 12 Years a Slave, but yeah, people still discuss it to this day.
Yeah. One that I think is really forgettable. I'm looking at it right now. That I think is really super forgettable. 2011, The Artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably say that too.
Yeah, super forgettable. Actually, let me see what was nominated the year The Artist won. Actually,
I would argue Moneyball should have taken this. That's my take.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Moneyball was nominated.
Yep.
Let me see. So this was the. Hold on here. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Oscars 2011. Hold on. Yeah, because I don't see any even the actors from that movie even anymore. Pretty much.
I mean, it was a big deal when Jean Dujardin was in Wolf of Wall Street, but I think that was the last time I've seen him in Hollywood.
Yeah,
I haven't seen John Goodman in anything in a long time. Just kidding.
Yeah,
that's just the first person I can think of from the cast who I've seen in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because let me see here. So this was the 84th.
Y'all, I'm actually about to take off.
Oh, okay.
All
right, man.
Y'all have fun talking about Scream 6. I'm definitely about to go see it.
All right, man.
Yeah, have fun.
Take care, man.
Yeah.
So the 84th Academy Awards, so this was what was nominated. So The Artist, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The Descendants, The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris. Midnight in Paris was awesome. I love Midnight in Paris. Woody Allen aside there, but I mean, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, War Horse. Yeah, I would have gone. Midnight in Paris.
I think out of those nominees, either Midnight in Paris or Hugo would be my picks for the best picture that year. Some of these nominations, I'm just kind of like just giving the side eye to. It's like, really? Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close, War Horse, which was just kind of eh. And of course the Tree of Life, which I think is the most egregious one.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Oscar talk there.